Welcome to 2025 Eastern Conference Decision Day. A lot of big games, a lot of teams fighting for playoff position, a lot of teams fighting for playoff spots as far as where they're going, who they're going to play, and where they're going to finish in the final standings. Hard to believe that this is the final week of the 2025 MLS regular season. A lot of things at stake. A lot of teams are going to be battling it out. People fighting for the MVP race, players fighting for the Golden Boot. And two big streams today, Eastern and Western Conference. It's going to be a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone who is with us right now. Make sure, if you haven't already, you like the stream down below. Share with a friend. Like I said, we have a lot of big games tonight, two big streams, guests coming through tonight for MLS Decision Day. We did this last year. This is the second year we are doing a MLS Decision Day live stream watch along. So hopefully it's as good as it was last year. It was a pretty successful stream last year for both of them, Eastern and Western Conference. So we're going to do that as well. We're doing that again tonight, and we're going to have Favian Renkel join us probably the next 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to have who else was going to join us tonight? We have a couple guests. We have Alex Calabriesi joining us, who covers Chicago Fire. I think he's going to join us at halftime. And then the next stream for the Western Conference, we're going to have Tony Sanchez from San Diego Football join us. And then also we're going to have Nick Chastain of LAFC, Voices of Black and Gold, join us. So it's going to be an exciting night. Hope you guys are all doing well. Miami fan says first. Amy says second. Mr. says, hi, Will. Appreciate you for stopping by as always, my good friend. Ace Lionel says, let's go. Messi Golden Boot winner tonight, Amy says. I think that probably could happen. Amy says, hello, Will. Appreciate you for stopping by. Let's see. Genero Heller says, hi, Will, and chat. Yeah, something's a little weird with the names tonight. It's showing ats. It looks a little different than normal. There's numbers and stuff, so it's a little bit different than what we're accustomed to. But we have a big stream tonight. A lot of big games tonight. About to kick off here in 3 minutes. And I'm going to be floating around from each game. So first of all, just to pull up the MLS standings real quick of what's at jeopardy, what's in jeopardy tonight. Like, what is at stake, right? Cincinnati and Miami are fighting for that second place spot in the Eastern Conference. Miami needs to win. Cincinnati needs to lose. If they both win, Inter Miami will not be the second seed. They will be the third seed in the MLS Cup playoffs. So Inter Miami desperately need to win, and they need Cincinnati to lose. Inter Miami is playing Nashville SC, and FC Cincinnati is playing Montreal. Montreal is an easy win. I think is going to be easy. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Miami to finish above Cincinnati. But that's what's so exciting about tonight, is that there is so many possibilities of what could happen in the playoff standings shuffling around. And we're going to know who is going to play who in the MLS Cup playoffs after tonight, which is really exciting. I'm very excited to see what the matchups are going to be in the first round and who's going to play in the play-in match. And then also, too, I have to point this out. Orlando City, Chicago, and Columbus all are going to be in flux for who is going to be in the play-in game. Orlando has 53 points. Chicago has 52 points. Columbus has 51 points. And Columbus plays New York Red Bulls. That they should be able to win that. Chicago plays New England. They should be able to win that. And then Orlando plays Toronto FC. They should be able to win that. Now it is on the road, so that could be a little bit more difficult. But this is very important because there's also a chance Orlando, if they do win that, could climb Nashville SC if Miami wins, and then Inter Miami could face Orlando City SC in the first round of the playoffs, which would be a very, very bad matchup. A very bad matchup for Inter Miami in the first round. A very bad matchup for Inter Miami in the first round. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, and we'll see how everything is going to pan out. It's going to be very exciting, though. I'm very excited to see who plays who and who's going to win and who's going to win the Golden Boot and who's going to win MVP. And I'm also excited about the playoffs because I want to see I'm ready to find out who's the best team through a playoff system in MLS at the moment. What game are you guys most excited to watch right now? Like I said, I'm going to be bouncing around. I'm going to be bouncing around from a couple different games because there are so many good games on, like I said. And I think they're actually going to start on time for once. I think they're all going to kick off at 6 o'clock sharp rather than the traditional. And I could be wrong. Maybe they are late. I don't know. But, well, that's not a good sign that they probably will be late here because it's saying that match coverage will start soon. So maybe they don't kick off right away at 6 o'clock. But I'm excited to see what happens. Very excited to see what happens. What's up, Will? Hello from Chicago. Appreciate you for stopping by, my friend. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Chicago... Oh, we got Favian here. Favi, didn't even see you, my friend. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, guys? Live from the car because we're here at San Jose's decision day, but that's later in the day. So I had to hop on and say what's up.
Well, so yeah, you're going to be at the San Jose game tonight, which is San Jose's fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in attendance. And I think they have to... Is there a chance even if they win, they wouldn't make it?
Yes, they have to win, and then a couple of other situations for them to get in. So they have to win, and Colorado has to lose, or Dallas has to lose. And Dallas plays Vancouver in Vancouver without Peter Musa, and then Colorado.
You cut out. Your volume cut out. Let's see.
Hello?
Yep, there you go. Good. We're good.
Cool. Yeah, so Colorado plays at LAFC, and you know how the bonesaw of LAFC has been.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, so San Jose is currently in 11th place, 38 points. Colorado above them, 40 points. RSL, 40 points. Dallas, 41 points. San Jose, talk about a team, just real quick to touch on them, a team that has really, really fallen down towards the end of the second part of the season, right? I mean, they were red hot, third place at one point, I think, in the Western Conference, and now they might not even they're probably not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they're definitely an outsider looking in. And if you look at the first half of the season, I mean, the offense was something that you could really, hold up with the rest of MLS before these kind of big transfers came in during the halfway point of the season. But yeah, the defense is still a problem. They play with three in the back. They don't have the best defenders, so that's the biggest issue as well. And they're going to score a lot of goals, but they're also going to concede a lot of goals. So the biggest key here today is just make sure you score more than Austin, which Austin might actually be, if I'm not mistaken, they might be kind of recovering some guys or making sure that guys don't play today because they want to make sure they're great for the playoff.
Yeah, and I actually reached out to Hernan from We Are Austin TV to maybe come on and we can talk about that.
But the playoffs, right.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the Eastern Conference. That's about to happen right now. Kickoff's about to take off. What are you looking forward to in the Eastern Conference matchups? I think it's pretty much set in stone. There's a couple the teams who have all the 9 teams have qualified already. There's nobody who could qualify that's not qualifying. It's about playoff positioning. It's about what seed you're going to be, who's playing who. That's kind of like what's at stake today. Inter Miami can stay at 3rd place, or they can finish as high as 2nd place. I think it's likely they probably will finish 3rd place. But as far as Eastern Conference matchups, what are you like most excited to see? What are you looking forward to today to see what happens?
Yeah, look, I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. There is some title on the line today,
Okay.
and that's the wooden spoon. All right, let's see if Atlanta or DC United get the wooden spoon. And if Atlanta gets the wooden spoon with that roster, oh my God, what a failure of a season.
No, I agree with that for sure. That'd be really bad. But are you looking forward to seeing who Miami's going to play in the first round? Because it could be Orlando City if they win their game today and Miami beat Nashville SC, which is something to keep an eye on. I'm not saying a team would purposely want to lose, but it might be more beneficial if Miami don't beat Nashville SC to make sure that they don't have to play Orlando City.
Yeah, honestly, I think Miami's gonna probably just go in with the mentality of, we need to score or Messi needs to score as many goals as possible because he might be going for records. And then also they might be thinking, hey, let's get as many points as possible because we're not invincible in the playoffs, and that showed already last year. Having home field advantage could be a big thing. I mean, Messi came back from playing with Argentina earlier so that he can help Miami get all the points they can get. So it is interesting. I think they're not going to play it that way. I don't think they're going to try to lose any points or play the kind of team games because Orlando, yes, is hard to beat in Orlando, but I think Miami can take Orlando twice in Miami. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like that's a really bad matchup. And to your point about chasing records and Messi trying to do that, so he has 44 goal contributions at the moment, and he's 5 away from the MLS record, which is held by Carlos Vela in 2019, 49 goal contributions. I don't think he's got 5 in him, hat trick or goals plus assists. I don't think
I could see a brace and 3 assists. Secondary assists count. Remember that.
Yeah, but you think Nashville's going to concede 5 goals today?
Yeah, probably not, right?
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, I don't see Nashville just collapsing. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but
a championship hangover in Nashville.
Yeah, right. Now, listen, I do think Messi could score definitely today. I think. Okay, I got a question for you. Is it more likely that he scores 30 goals this year, which would be 4 goals, or gets 5 goal contributions today?
No, five goal contributions for sure. Messi hasn't scored a hat trick yet in MLS, and that'd be crazy if he did it today and then added another one on top of that.
Amy says Messi will get a hat trick today.
Okay. I think it's more likely that Bouanga gets 4 than Messi today.
You know what's sad though is Mr. said it. He hopes that Dallas doesn't get makes the playoff because their stadium looks ridiculous right now because it's under construction. It is crazy to think about how bad Dallas has been this year, and that they're still going to make the playoffs.
Well, they're not going to, I don't think, because if the Quakes take care of business, it's pretty fair to assume that they're going to lose to Vancouver.
Maybe, but what if San Jose loses too?
Yeah, if San Jose loses, then that is where it gets a little funky. But I think San Jose doesn't lose this game at home.
Yeah, by the way, Favi, we got 30 people in here, only 15 likes. Guys, make sure you like the stream down below if you haven't already. We've got 2 live streams today. Guests coming through. Best and biggest MLS channel that there is. We got a lot of coverage today. We're probably going to do a post game after this as well. I mean, it's going to be jam-packed, and this is only the beginning because of the MLS Cup playoffs starting on Wednesday. Huge things coming up. Make sure you like this down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're going to have people like Favi come through several times. You better get used to him. You're going to be seeing him around quite a bit in the next 2 months. I'll probably see him more than my own wife, my pregnant wife. Just kidding. I wouldn't get away with that. But make sure you subscribe. Also, me and him are going to be doing some collab shorts too. Make sure Favi, where can people find and follow your YouTube channel at? You're not leaving yet, but I just want to give you that shout real quick.
No, yeah. I've been doing some shorts because, there is moments in MLS that are captured by fans and moments that can live on within all of time. So that's like basically we have a couple of shorts where Busquets makes a nice pass or Bouanga and Son celebrate. And they're just nice moments that, MLS could have a little extra content out there. So you can follow me at Favian Renkel on YouTube as well. And me and Will are going to be definitely collabing on shorts. We already have collabed on a whole bunch of them. So it's just some extra content for all of you guys, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm excited. Make sure you go check him out for sure. Now, Favi, Eastern Conference, one thing that I noticed that was a little weird is normally on decision day, it's normally, it's a little different this year because there's 30 teams, but normally it's all East versus all East, all West versus all West. But now there's 15 teams. There's an odd number of teams in each conference now, 15. So now there has to be one matchup of East versus West team. And today it's New York City versus Seattle Sounders. That's a little bit of a weird matchup, right? It's weird to see Seattle playing on Eastern Conference time slot for decision day. I just noticed that a couple hours ago that's the time they were playing. Right now, I want to ask you this: heading into the speaking on the Eastern Conference, who do you think is the and we'll talk about West in a second. Who do you think is the team to beat right now in the Eastern Conference?
Honestly, it's a tough question because there's so many good teams in the East compared to the West. I think underdogs always come alive during the MLS Cup playoffs. Last year with the New York Red Bulls, they kind of had this crazy run that came out of nowhere and landed them in the MLS Cup final. New York City is a team that has been streaking at the end of the year. That's looked pretty good in big moments against big teams. Another team that, if they can get healthy, they can turn some heads is the Columbus Crew, especially if they're going in that playoff or play-in game and then they find a way to make it into the actual 8 teams. And they get Diego Rossi back. Who knows? They could be a contender again pretty quickly. And then I would say a true contender too. And since they're always up there in the upper echelon, no matter what players they have, is FC Cincinnati. I mean, they almost feel like they're always the bridesmaid at this point, and maybe Evander helps them get over that kind of hump that they had. They couldn't do it with Lucho. Evander kind of stepped in. Denke has been a great addition to them, and maybe this is the year. But again, these teams do have to worry about going through Inter Miami, and I think this last hurrah with the Barca boys is gonna be crazy to see. They're all gonna be playing. This is their last games of their career, right? So they're
together,
really gonna fighting tooth and nail, right, to kind of do something, end up in a final. It's gonna be tough to get past Miami, I think, but it's very possible if the game expands, if it starts becoming a game, or their games start becoming like shootouts, then their defense gets tired and they're beatable. But it's gonna be tough to see Inter Miami not make it to the final this year.
The only concern I have about Inter Miami is they're very dependent on Messi, and because they're not the first seed in the Eastern Conference, they're going to likely have to win some games on the road.
Yeah,
and I don't think they're the best road team. So that's one concern I have. But I'm going to be interested to see, because this is a playoff team they're playing today, right? They're playing a playoff team today in Nashville SC. It's the final game of the season. They both have something to play for. It's not like either of these teams are just conceding. Nashville SC is wanting to move up or get as high of a seed as possible. So is Inter Miami.
All right.
I don't really know. I think it's wide open. I think Cincinnati's good. I'm just not really sold on Pat Noonan as a coach. Very concerned. I think he's a little bit questionable. The team's good. I'm not sure about him in big games. I don't really know who the favorite is in the East, man. I do think it's wide open. Would anyone have picked New York Red Bulls? By the way, we're about to kick off here, but would anyone have picked New York Red Bulls to make it out of the Eastern Conference last year?
Definitely not. I mean, I think they're a better team this year, and they barely made it, right? So, they didn't make it. Excuse me. It's crazy. I mean, a team could get hot in the playoffs and make a couple of upsets and find themselves in important matches, and all of a sudden their stars start to take over. And that's exactly what happened last year with Forsberg. It's funny because, looking back at that team, I mean, they had a couple of good guys, but nobody that really turned heads besides Forsberg, right? So it's interesting to see what team's going to do that this year. But I think with Miami, it's going to be their defense, right? We're going to see if their defense can hold up these attacks for all these teams.
Okay, now let's talk about the Western Conference. Who do you think is the favorite right now
Ooh,
out of the Western Conference.
are you watching the Miami game?
I am.
It's already shaky at the back already.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, so for the Western Conference, in my opinion, the MLS Cup favorite today has to be LAFC. I think LAFC is just a bone saw with Sun and Buwanga playing at the level that they are, with that team all playing for Sun, all playing for Dolo, which is kind of crazy to say. Dolo might end up with 2 MLS Cups when it's all said and done. But that team is looking like they're not going to slip up at all, especially if Sun and Bawanga can stay healthy. That team is good enough to definitely compete for an MLS Cup, and I think they are a favorite because they can win on the road, and that's something they haven't been able to do at the beginning of the season. Now, they are going to have a dark horse competitor, and it's crazy to say dark horse because they're actually going to probably end up in first place, and that is the Vancouver Whitecaps. If the Whitecaps can kind of use their home field advantage to kind of, get these other teams out of rhythm and make it hard for them to win in Vancouver, I can easily see Vancouver getting these 3 points today and possibly hosting an MLS Cup too, especially since they're going to be in the first seed. They just have to, get an underdog story again to happen, just like it did last year with the Red Bulls. Maybe that happens this year, and who knows, they can host an MLS Cup. So I personally think it's LAFC in the driver's seat, but watch out for Vancouver. And I know that's crazy to say because Vancouver's technically in first, but I still think LAFC is looking like a team that is unbeatable when they're playing at their level.
I think LAFC is probably the hottest team in the league, but Vancouver have, like you said, that they're going to have home field advantage in the Western Conference, and plus that rug that they play on, man, that carpet they play on is tough to play on. It is not. I mean, it's very aesthetically displeasing, right? It is not fun to look at. It looks horrible, right?
They're going to be a big home field advantage, though. I mean, it's probably the biggest in soccer, right? Playing on a pitch like that week in and week out, having to, if you're an away team, having to adjust to that, it's actually not too easy, in my opinion.
Yo, we got an update. New England is up 1-0 over Chicago.
Oh, wow. That was quick.
Yep, New England's up 1-0 over Chicago. Good catch. Atlanta United up 1-0 over DC United. So that, like you said, is a wooden spoon race to see if they're going to finish the wooden spoon bowl. And it's between them and the Galaxy, correct? Didn't you say that earlier?
No, I think the Galaxy's out of it. I think they're safe.
Okay, well, as safe as you can be for as bad as their season was after.
Hey, they qualify for CONCACAF. That's all that matters, all right?
That's crazy, by the way. Yeah, I mean, I think that Vancouver is probably, man, it's a tough one. I do think that LAFC are the best team, probably in the league right now, honestly. No joke. They're probably the best team in the league, but it's just a matter of them not having home field advantage, and they're going to have to probably play Vancouver on the road, unless Vancouver slips up, right?
Right.
Unless Vancouver slips up and lose at some point, which I don't know. Maybe they could.
Yeah, Vancouver was a good team before Mueller, and they didn't even have one of their best players in Ryan Gauld. I mean, this is a team that is playing under Jesper Sorensen at a different level. I mean, these guys are playing. They are one of the best teams in MLS, but they haven't slipped up at all. On the other hand, San Diego, they've definitely slowed down a bit. I mean, they had a great start to the season. They're an expansion side, so there is a grueling season that they have to go through, and it's showing at the end of this kind of later part of the season. They kind of dropped a couple of spots, but no, Vancouver under Sorensen has been a completely different team. They got Mueller, and I know people are saying, "Oh, we're not a retirement league. We don't want these type of signings." But if you're a team like Vancouver that's firing on all cylinders, and you can add a veteran that knows how to win, that knows how to come into this locker room and instill a winning mindset going into the playoffs, that experience is so invaluable for these moments. It's so valuable for these moments. So I think they are a one-of-a-kind kind of dark horse, maybe lightning in a bottle that can see themselves up in an MLS Cup final for sure. But on top of that, they're getting Ryan Gauld back, one of the best players in MLS that barely played all season. They got him back a couple of games ago, and now they have even more depth. So they have Mueller, Gauld, Brian White. I mean, this team, they have superstars, and they have that European star to help them get to that next level, which I personally like to see teams do that, especially right before an MLS Cup run.
Are you more excited about the playoffs this year than you were last year?
I think so. I think there's enough hype. I think there's enough uh, possible teams. Last season, the underdogs kind of reigned supreme, and everybody loves an underdog story. But when it comes to MLS Cup playoffs, personally, I like seeing highlights. I like seeing players rise to the occasion. I like superstars becoming superstars or cementing their kind of aura to everybody watching. And I think this year there's a lot of superstars that can kind of make their mark in MLS. And Mueller, Sun coming into the league are two names that I'm excited to see in the MLS Cup playoffs.
No, I think that is cool, and I like the fact they're on the West Coast too to kind of spread it out a little bit. That is a cool thing that it feels like there is a buzz around certain other teams outside of Miami to win MLS Cup. Because if we're being honest, right, regardless of how entertaining the playoffs were last year, when Miami went out in the first round, it really killed the buzz for the league in the playoffs, right? It did. I mean, it's just a fact. We're talking from a business and entertainment perspective, not who you guys want to win. It hurt like significantly for them to bounce Miami in the first round.
As some of you guys like to say, it hurt the Garber Bucks.
It did. Yes, exactly. Because we saw that in the final ratings. Only 500,000 people watched the MLS Cup final.
Right, which was crazy. But then that gets into, should there be international breaks during the playoffs? The steam was lost, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I'm excited about this. I can't wait to see what happens. MLS Cup playoffs. Now, we looked this up earlier. MLS Cup playoffs, the play-in game starts on Wednesday. Now, do we know if that's just one or if that's both?
If I'm not mistaken, it has to be both, East and West, just because the next weekend is going to be the start of the real playoffs. So those games have to be finished before next weekend.
Looks like Maxi Falcone got hurt. We got another score. Toronto FC scores on Orlando City. It's 1-0. Man, I tell you what, all these teams that need to win are not currently winning.
Right.
Well, maybe not all of them, but two of them definitely are, right? Yeah, that's interesting. I'm excited. Are you? So I think this playoffs should be iconic. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think the fact that Son, Messi, Thomas Mueller, like you said, are all going to be playing in it means that there's going to be a lot of unpredictable things happening. It's going to be exciting things happening. And I hope it lives up to the expectations. Leagues Cup was very, very, I would say that the excitement, I didn't know if it was going to be high at all. I thought it was going to be very low. And the reason I bring that up is because it turned out the final had a lot of buzz around it. It was very, very highly interested. We saw that in the numbers, right? People were excited to watch the Leagues Cup final. I think this could be even bigger if it goes the right way.
Yeah, Leagues Cup was a genuine surprise to me too. There wasn't that much interest going into the tournament. It felt like the same old tournament that was every year. There was underdogs. There was players that possibly could make their mark. Seattle showed up out of nowhere. My favorite player, Jesus Ferreira, and Pedro de la Vega started playing at an astronomical level. Obed Vargas was a name that played very well. And it was the format made Leagues Cup interesting this year, in my opinion. We got every single game was in the first phase was MLS versus Liga MX, and that made it a lot more interesting. And I think a lot of you guys can agree with that. And then the playoffs was the playoffs, right? And then we got the matchup that probably I think MLS wanted, everybody wanted was
technical difficulty, folks. All right, I think he's back.
Sorry, guys. We got the matchup that we wanted was Messi in Seattle, and then Seattle took care of business 3-0, and then we got the fireworks at the end. But I guess that might be a good marker to kind of get over to the Quake Stadium and grab that Machina little action figure of Christian Espinoza. I got to get in line for that.
Also, too, real quick, playoffs, right? 3 games, still a thing. Hate the 3-game best of 3. Not a fan of it. I think it should be 2 legs. We know they do it because they want more revenue from games and ticket sales. But there's a way you could solve that. You just do 2 legs, right? Do you think this could be the last year we see the best of 3?
Oh, yeah. I think after the World Cup, we're going to see a lot of changes. And I think
Yeah.
that is the time to do it. You're going to have a whole bunch of new fans, a whole bunch of new eyes looking at the league. So you're going to have to start making changes. I could see that being one where how you can shorten the season up a little bit by shortening the playoffs.
Well, I don't think you even necessarily have to shorten it up. I just think you have to construct it a little differently. You don't need to be having best of three. No one, I just feel like, and I use this example. I think I was on the phone with either you or someone else. Think about this for a second. All the people in the chat, think about this. Imagine hypothetically if there was a playoff system in either Spain or the Premier League. We'll use the Premier League, for example. Imagine if the fans had to watch Manchester City play Brentford 3 times in a row. No one wants to watch them play 3 times in a row. Nobody wants to watch Chelsea play Nottingham Forest 3 times in a row. Nobody wants to watch that.
Right.
So I just think it waters down the matchup a little bit. It should be either 1 or 2 games. It shouldn't be 3 matches.
No, I definitely agree with that. When you put it in the EPL terms, I don't think anybody would be happy to see that.
No, it's like you've seen it once. You don't need to see it 3 times. Now, 2 times you could do an aggregate like score, obviously. Red Bulls has scored as well. Red Bulls are up 1-0 over Columbus.
Wow.
I'm telling you, this could be an upset day. There could be a lot of upsets. New England's winning right now. Red Bulls are winning right now. Toronto's beating Orlando City. A lot of upsets could be on the horizon tonight.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, well, listen, Favi, I know you got to go because you got to get checked in there at the San Jose at PayPal Park now, if I'm not mistaken, is what it's called still, right? PayPal Park. I appreciate you for stopping by, my friend. Hope you have a good night. Hopefully the Quakes can prevail and maybe sneak into the playoffs. And if they don't, hopefully the new ownership will be able to help them. And by the way, real quick, have we heard anything else about that? Wasn't there supposedly an owner who's bought the team?
Yeah, nothing that's gonna be quick. There was a blunder that happened with the Quakes ticket sales team saying that there possibly could be an owner before the MLS season next year. So that means it was kind of working, but it was a Freudian slip, right? It wasn't a true rumor or kind of any sort of insight. It was more of someone trying to sell tickets.
Gotcha. Well, Favi, I appreciate my friend. Before you go, tell the people where they can find your work at.
Yeah, you can find me at Favian Renkel on all platforms, even Threads. I mean, I'm kicking on Threads, actually. You know how you're the biggest YouTuber? I might be the biggest threader. I'm just going to say that.
Are you? All 5 of you guys?
Yeah, dude. You're not invited to our little powwow over at Threads, all right?
The Golden Thread Awards?
Yeah, exactly.
Thread the needle. Well, go make sure you check him out. Favian Renkel. He has great work. He's been covering the World Cup and MLS and everything in between. Appreciate you for stopping by, Favi. We will talk soon.
Take care, man.
See you, buddy. That was Favian Renkel. Make sure you guys go check him out. Great work covering the World Cup ticket prices and all type of ticket information. And he has great coverage of Major League Soccer as well. Mr. says Choupo-Moting has had himself a sneaky good season. He has. I was very skeptical about him just because of his age, like 37 years old. But, maybe he preserved some of his, health, or maybe didn't have as many miles on him because he was a bench player for Bayern for the last, 2 or 3 years prior to coming to the Red Bulls. So maybe he didn't have as much mileage as maybe like a Luis Suarez, who's very similar in age. Definitely not as much mileage as Luis Suarez, right? But yeah, he's had a pretty good season, just not good enough. They needed to have a little bit more, they need to have better reinforcements to contribute to the team in order to make a playoff run again. And it's disappointing to see a team who made the both MLS Cup participants last year didn't make the playoffs in 2025. Some people would say that that's a good thing, but I don't think that is a good thing. I think that's a bad thing for MLS. That's not a good thing to brag about. They'll say it's parity and that's the way it should be, but it shouldn't be that bad. You shouldn't go from making it to the final to not making the playoffs when 18 teams make it into the playoffs. That's actually kind of sad. David Day says MLS players equals average 25.8-year-olds that are very similar to the 5 Euro leagues, younger than La Liga, Brazil, Liga MX, Saudi, Argentina, and China per transfer market. They're younger. Let's look at the scores too. Still looks like it's about the same. Atlanta United 1-0 over DC. Toronto FC over 1-0 over Orlando. New England 1-0 over Chicago, and New York Red Bulls 1-0 over Columbus Crew. Luis Suarez just fouled. But yeah, I think that this is going to be very interesting playoffs, regardless if some of the teams that should have made it didn't make it, and some of the teams who shouldn't have made it. I still think it's going to be very interesting to see the matchups and see who ends up making it to the final, because it's very unpredictable. It's very unpredictable. No one really knows who's going to make it, because one bad game could end your entire season. David Day says MLS is younger. Regarding the retirement league stuff, I don't think that people say that it's a retirement league just because of the age. And it's 1-1, it looks like. 1-1, Columbus Crew has tied it up with New York Red Bulls. I think they say it's a retirement league because the quality players, the big name players, are coming over here when they're past their prime. A lot of them are. Not all of them anymore, but that's kind of the talking point. Obviously, all the players here are not retirement age. It's about the level of player, the name you're bringing over here, at what stage they are in their career. Pesci will not win the MLS Cup. I don't think they will either, but we'll see. Amy says, hey, Will, do you think Inter Miami should fire Javier Mascherano? Yes, I do think they should. I think they will. If they don't win an MLS Cup this year, I think he's gone. I would bet that he will be fired. HJHRTC says, hi, first MLS decision day watching from England. Can you explain playoff tickets? Nashville, where I'm about to move to, have already put tickets on sale despite not knowing what game dates, etc. So as far as playoff tickets, this happens in a lot of American sports. You'll go ahead and pay for playoff tickets in advance. And sometimes even if you don't make the playoffs, and if you don't make the playoffs, which they will, they'll give you a reimbursement, or they will just put it towards next year's tickets. But Nashville SC is likely to only play one playoff game, maybe two. I guess it really depends on where they finish, but I think it's probably going to be like one playoff game at home in 2025. So if you end up paying for more than that, they'll just reimburse you for next season. Yeah, and season ticket holders do get dibs. Like, they get first priority on certain seats. Not certain games, because you have to buy them for all games, but they get priority on allotted tickets. They get first priority. Mr. says Miami hired the wrong ex-Barca player as a manager. Yeah, and I think they're going to right their wrongs this offseason if they don't win MLS Cup, which I don't expect them to do. I think they're going to right their wrongs. Ernest says MLS teams don't put tickets on sale for playoff without knowing they are in the playoffs. Some teams do, though. If it's close, like if it's a one-game deciding match, they'll go ahead and because I had season tickets to the Titans for years, the Tennessee Titans, and I remember me and my dad would have to buy our playoff tickets before we officially qualify for the playoffs, even if it came down to game day or the last game of the week to decide if we were in. That happens sometimes. Amy says, Inter Miami are playing so bad. They don't look very good right now, and this is not a trend that you would want to see heading into the playoffs. You would like to see them kind of play a little bit more with more energy, more flair. Oh, but here's the thing. I've said this all year long. I don't think Miami is a good road team. I don't think they're very good on the road. So I'm not really surprised by this. I think they're going to struggle with the fact that they're not going to have home field advantage. And here's another thing. If Miami plays Orlando in the first round, yes, Miami will probably win that first game, but they'll probably lose the second game to Orlando at Orlando, and then it heads into game 3. Win or go home. And I just don't think, and also too, like I was mentioning about this with Favian, the best of 3. This is a very old team. They're going to play 3 matches. Oh, good save by Rocco Rios. But they are going to have to, they're going to have to play 3 matches within like 8 days. Within 8 days, and they're the oldest team in the league. Thinks I move after the playoff game too, which is why I'm worried about wasting money. Yeah, I would say that you probably won't get to go then if I'm not. It really just depends on who wins and how the next round goes. But I would doubt there would be more than one playoff game at Nashville this year. I could be wrong, though. Miguel says, let's go Fire. Does anybody know why the names are different now? Because I obviously recognize some of you guys and your names, but it's showing your ats instead of your name. So it's kind of throwing me off just a little bit. Amy says, I just wish Inter Miami hired a coach with brains. Yeah, that's definitely not Javier Mascherano. Definitely not him. Mr. says, the moment Miami runs into someone that can attack at pace, they're screwed. They are screwed, and that could be the first round. And on top of that, they have to play them 3 games potentially, most likely 3 games, because I don't think Miami can beat a team 2 times in a row. Looks like Allende might get a foul called on him. David Day says Messi doesn't understand the playoffs. I think he probably does at this point. I think he probably understands the playoffs at this point. We'll see, though. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these players feel like whoever won the regular season deserves to be the champion of the league, but that's just not how it works. And even if it was how it works, then Miami definitely wouldn't be the champions this year. By the way, if you're just joining us, we got 53 of you in the chat. This is the first of 2 streams. We're doing Eastern Conference and Western Conference. Eastern Conference till it's over with, and then we're going to be back up doing Western Conference at 8:50 Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you guys like the stream down below if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We got a lot of MLS content coming up, playoffs, matchups, watch-alongs, and everything in between that you're not going to miss. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification so you never miss a video. Mr. Krabs, I haven't seen you in here in a while, my friend. Inter Miami and Nashville might play each other 4 times in a row, including this game. And that's a point that I made a minute ago about how it's ridiculous that they have to play 3 games, even in the first round of the playoffs. That's just too much. There's a couple teams that could be playing this week and then also playing again in the first round of the playoffs. It's just nonsensical and it's too much. People get worn down. I made this comparison about the Premier League. I'll make it about the La Liga. Nobody wants to watch Madrid play Mallorca or Betis or Villarreal. They don't want to see them play 3 times in a row. Nobody wants to see that. 2 times max. And most of the time in Europe, when they're playing in, obviously, the Champions League, they don't normally play teams back-to-back in the Champions League. There's normally other matchups in between to give a little bit of a break. You don't want to oversaturate a matchup. You don't want to do that because it hurts. I don't want to say it doesn't hurt the credibility, but it hurts the relevancy of the game that you're watching. Jetro says maybe a YouTube glitch. Sometimes it shows Ashkin. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's really weird right now. Ernest, a member of the channel, says 3-game playoff, in my opinion, sucks. Hoping when schedule changes, they can go to home and away like other big soccer leagues. Yeah, they used to do that. They used to have single elimination and the 2-leg series. They went back and forth, and then they said, you know what? Let's revolutionize the matchups and let's do a 3-game series, which is so dumb. It makes no sense. I don't know why they would do that, but here we are. It's what they've done. The problem for Inter Miami is that presently constructed, they need to have a lot of luck to even sniff the MLS Cup final. That's true. That's true. I agree with that. Just because they're way too dependent on one guy. Now, I will say this, though. I have to point this out. Matteo Salvetti for Inter Miami, he's been having a hell of a run with Argentina at the World Cup, the U20 World Cup. A hell of a run. Might be their best player. So when they get him back, that could be a difference maker. I think it could, maybe. We'll have to see. But he's having an incredible run at the the U20 World Cup, excuse me. And they miss him, and I think he will make an impact when he comes back. Now, I will say this too. If Messi doesn't score tonight, we could have ourselves a golden boot race in the Western Conference Decision Day stream. Denny Bouanga is just 1 goal behind, or 2 goals behind Lionel Messi in the Golden Boot race. And I bet you they will try like hell, if it's within a reasonable margin, to get him that Golden Boot. Mr. Crab says more games means more money. That's true. I don't disagree with more games, but here's the problem. You have a best of 3 in the first round, and then you go to single elimination in the second, third, and then the final. They could get rid of the best of 3 and just do 2-game aggregate matches, which would actually give you more games until you go to the final. So they could make up the difference in other ways. There's a lot of different things they could do. And Charlotte FC is taking the lead on Philadelphia, which is another spot that Charlotte's fluctuating from where they could finish in the standings. They're tied right now with New York City FC. They need to win this game in order to make sure that they stay at that 4th seed, which they would end up playing New York City FC. But there's still a possibility that if they lost and Nashville won, Nashville SC could move up to 4th place. So there's just still a lot of wiggle room and a lot of things in flux right now in the standings. Another hat trick is in the joke of a league, the Camels League. Penal Dog exposed again. Interesting. Ashcan says NBA, NHL, MLB playoffs have a best of 6. Yeah, well, it's best of 7 actually, but because best of 6 would be, I mean, you could tie in that scenario. It's best of 7, but also too, you have to consider that's a different sport than soccer. Like baseball, they play every day. Basketball, they can play back to back, and hockey, they can play back to back. Soccer and American football, they need breaks in between. They don't play 2 games back to back like that. They don't do that. Best of 3 equals fans of every playoff team gets to enjoy at least 1 home playoff game. But that's the thing. If you did the home and away, if you did the 2-leg match, every team would get to enjoy a home playoff game. That's the same thing. There's no difference, except you're giving another team an extra home game. It would not remove home field advantage, because you could give the team with the better record the chance to play either home or away first. They get to decide. Messi with a nice touch. Nice pass to Jordi Alba. Good defending by Nashville SC. Wins possession back. Seattle wins a penalty. So Seattle's about to take a penalty against New York City FC, potentially to go up, which could have playoff implications for Seattle and for, I guess not for Seattle's locked in, I guess, at number 5 at this point. So, but playoff implications for New York City FC definitely could have implications for that. Ernest Aguilar says, didn't Apple want more games to sign MLS to get more money? They did, but there's ways they could have done it. I think they wanted to. Oh, it looks like Messi got fouled to me, but I guess no call. I think they wanted to do something like that. They just want to do something weird. I don't know. It was very, very odd the way they've done this. There would be just as many games, if not more, if they did the 2-leg format. Seattle penalty VAR should be chalked off. Blatant dive is what Mr. Mister is telling us. Sly says they need to fix the playoff thing. Yeah, they definitely need to fix it. Oh, Surridge with a nice strike, but saved by Rios Novo. No penalty. No penalty awarded to Seattle. So we're 31 minutes in. Toronto FC 1-0 over Orlando. New England 1-0 over Chicago. Columbus tied 1-1 with the Red Bulls. Charlotte FC 2-0 up over Philadelphia. Atlanta United up 1-0 over DC United. 0-0 for New York City FC. Seattle 0-0 Nashville SC and Inter Miami. And 0-0 Cincinnati versus Montreal. And keep in mind, if that Montreal-Cincinnati game ends in a draw, Miami could be dropping a huge opportunity here. If they win and Cincinnati has a draw or a loss, they would move up to the second seed, which would mean they have a good chance of possibly having home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. That's no advantage, one home, one road. Literally, it is an advantage. You get to pick which one you want to play first. You either play away or home first. You could literally play on the road, win 1-1, lose 1-0, whatever, or not win 1-1, but draw 1-1, win 1-0, lose 1-0, and then you go home knowing how many goals you need to win that game. There's a lot of different advantages of it. Best of 3 makes no sense in soccer. It makes no sense. It makes 0 sense. A team does not need to play 3 times in 1 week. Makes no sense. It's too much. If you really want to have a home field advantage, or if that's what you really want, then let the first round teams play 1 game at home, and then it's winner get eliminated. Mr. Mister says the league table doesn't lie. You finish where you deserve to finish. Yeah, the only thing about the league table in MLS though is that you don't play every team, right? You don't play every team in the league twice. You play some teams once, and some teams you play none. Hani Mukhtar. Oh God, what a whiff by Hani Mukhtar. Too high. Or was it wide left? The angle was kind of weird. Hani Mukhtar had an absolute beautiful opportunity to score right there and totally whiffed it. Let's see. Yeah, too high. Hani Mukhtar should have scored that. It should have been a clinical finish by Hani Mukhtar. You're seeing deficiencies in the back line for Inter Miami. This is why I don't think that they can win an MLS Cup right here. This is why I don't think they could do it. Harry says, if you are hell-bent on home advantage, then just do 1 game. I agree. Ernest says, also, remember MLS playoffs get interrupted by FIFA International Week, which sucks for teams who are in good rhythm. They do. They do get interrupted by the international break, which sucks because it does kill momentum to a certain degree. But rest assured, we only have 1 more year of this until the calendar change happens, and won't be an issue anymore, which is a good thing. Slice says Cincinnati has been disappointing at home to close the season. It hasn't been the same since that second Hell is Real game. Oh, that's almost a nice cross by Cello Wingett. No, I think that's a totally fair thing. And Cincinnati just scored. Cincinnati's actually up 1-0 over Montreal at the moment. Cincinnati takes the lead 1-0. But I just think that Pat Noonan might be a fraud. I don't know if he's a good manager. I don't know if he can ever win an MLS Cup. The team is ready for an MLS Cup. Oh, nice move by Messi. Oh, what a goal by Messi. That was beautiful. Left side, 27th goal of the season. What a beautiful goal. Wow, that was a beautiful turn. That was a beautiful cut by Messi. Left foot, left bottom of the goal, score. Messi, 27th goal of the season. Wow, that was beautiful. Wow. No one's saving that, by the way. It's just a good goal. 27 goals this year, 0 from the penalty spot. 0 from the penalty spot for Inter Miami. 0. And I think with that goal and him likely to win the Golden Boot, he's going to be MVP of MLS. I mean, let's be honest. He's going to be the first player in MLS history to win back-to-back MVPs. I'd be shocked if he didn't at this point. Ernest says best of 3 is good all around. That works for other sports here in the States, but not soccer. It makes no sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense in soccer or the NFL. Harry says he did miss one PK. He did miss a PK, but he hasn't scored a single penalty goal. And Toronto FC is up 2-0 over Orlando City right now. 2-0 over Orlando City. Mr. Krabs says Denny Bwanga would have to score a poker now. I don't see it happening. Yeah, he would have to score 4 goals in order to win the Golden Boot. I mean, because even if it's tied, Messi would get the advantage because of the assist. By the way, Miami is 0.08 expected goals at the moment, 0.08, and Nashville's 1.65. Nashville's been the better team in the first half. It's all about opportunities and missed opportunities that Nashville's had. I mean, they've been the better team in the first half. Ashkin says, just saw the Messi goal. Yeah, it was a nice goal. It was a beautiful goal. He's the only good thing that's happened on this team tonight. He's the only good thing that's happened on this team tonight. Oh, good clearance by Rodrigo De Paul. Looking at the scores across the league, everything looks the same. Like I said, Toronto FC scored. They're up 2-0 over Orlando City. Still a lot of uncertainty so far. Still a lot of uncertainty. Still a second half to play. A lot of things could change. A lot of things could change. Nothing is in stone. We've seen some crazy things in this league before. Suarez just falls. La Tortuga falls over himself. La Tortuga trips over himself in the box. That's very, very on brand for him this year. Oh, nice pass to Surridge. One-on-one with Cello. Surridge can only cut right and score. I mean, that was not a very good shot attempt. Ashkin says Nashville has only conceded 12 goals this season. There's no way. They definitely scored more. Oh, 12, 13. No, they definitely conceded more than that. There's no way they've only conceded 13 goals. Maybe at home. Let's see. Nashville SC has conceded 41 goals this year. I think Sam Surridge could be out of the Golden Boot race. Oh, he's cooked at this point. He's cooked. Amy says, Will, I told Messi win the Golden Boot. He came back and he played in that game was it Saturday? Yeah, last Saturday he played that game instead of playing for Argentina, and he sealed the deal in that match, in my opinion. He probably still would have won it anyways, but 27 goals this year for Messi is very impressive. Very impressive. Back to Messi. Oh, blocked. Jordi Alba. Oh. David A says NFL equals 16 games, one off. MLS games, 38 games. NBA, 82 games. NBA games are not as tiring, and they're a lot different than soccer. Also, MLS, it goes for 9 months instead of 4 or 5 months like the NFL. It's completely different. It's more spread out. They play a longer season. LAFC has been a top 5 team in the league this year. We've been no worse than the 5th or 4th the whole year. It's true. Sorry if I've missed your predictions, but at this point, who do you think will win MLS Cup? I think that there's a couple teams that could contend for it, but I'm struggling between LAFC and Vancouver. I think I'm going to. Oh, was that Jordi Alba? I don't think Allende touched that. Let's see. I'm going to see the replay on this. I think Jordi Alba scored that, but I don't think Tadeo Allende, he might have been offside, but I don't think he touched that ball. We'll have to watch the replay. Let's see. All right, let's see. Jordi Alba's onside. Allende's definitely offside. Let's see if he even touched this, though. Okay, yeah, he definitely did. Went off his thigh. It didn't look like he kicked it. That's why it looked weird to me. It went off his thigh in the goal. It's crazy that's the only goal he can score is a thigh goal. But it is what it is. Ernest Aguilar says physical toll it takes on soccer and football isn't the same as the NBA. 100%. Mr. Krabs says, I have had it with Allende. Yes. You just now had it with him? I mean, we've all had it with him like the entire season. He's been terrible. He's probably got the worst poll numbers in the state of Florida that there is. Allende is definitely not a popular name in South Florida, right? And I think a lot of people outside of South Florida doesn't like Allende because they hate watching him play. Looks like the scoreline's still about the same right now. Nothing crazy's happened. Still holding tight. And like I said, I think we're gonna have Alex Calabriesi on with us at the half to talk about Chicago Fire. I wanted to bring him on because he's a very respected journalist. Works for MLS, covers the Chicago Fire, and talk about their turnaround because I think it's been impressive. I'll ask him some questions at the half about that. But I thought that would be an interesting guest to have on to talk about their turnaround this year. Oh, just wide. About the Sar Rodriguez. Oh, so it's 1-1. See who scores. You might be ahead of me. Sam Surridge scores for Nashville SC. 1-1 at the half. So far, there's a couple minutes left plus add time, but Nashville SC has tied it up with Inter Miami 1-1 in the 43rd minute. Sam Surridge. Mr. Mister says, I don't know who got paid to recommend Allende, but I hope he got 3 to 5 years in prison. That's crazy. Amy says, hey, Will, do you pick out a name for the baby? Yeah, we got a couple names we're thinking of. Mr. Krabs says defense as bad as always. Who failed to mark him? Was it Cello? Was it Lujan? Yeah, Lujan looks like he wasn't doing well. Let's see who's supposed to be marking him. Rodrigo de Paul. Terrible marking by Rodrigo de Paul on Sam Surridge. It was a good pass from Hani Mukhtar to Sam Surridge, though. I have to give him credit. Good pass from Hani Mukhtar to Sam Surridge. Mr. Krabs says defense is as bad as usual. It is pretty bad. It's bad. But I mean, that's the thing, though. The defense isn't what really wins them these games. Their offense, when Messi's clicking, is what wins these games. We'll have to see if that can, we'll see if that's what can prevail them this year. I wouldn't feel good about it, but we'll see. I've been wrong before. Amy says, I'm so frustrated I had it with the defense. And the funny thing is they literally got rid of Tata Martino because Javier Mascherano was supposed to be a better defensive coach, and he's been worse. He has been worse. They've conceded way more goals this year than last year. Harry says 3 to 5 years at Alligator Alcatraz. That's crazy. Rodrigo de Paul pings a beautiful ball to Cello Wingett with the cross, cleared by Zimmerman. Mr. Mister says that was Rodrigo de Paul on that goal. Yeah, that was bad marking by Rodrigo de Paul. He let Sam Surridge get the advantage on him on the inside. See if we got any more Messi magic. Nice pass to Cello. Crossing it to Suarez. Too low. Cleared by Nashville SC. Harry says they are 1 year older and they are not 20-year-olds, so not going to get better. That's true. Sam Surridge, Hani Mukhtar. Oh, good defending by Busquets. Good defending by Sergio Busquets. Michael Pelé says, what is it with MLS? Even a class European players forget how to defend when they come over. Maybe it's the altitude. I don't know. The air, the North American air. Jordi Alba passes it out wide to Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez crossing it to Messi. Oh, Messi he almost got that first touch. Hit it off the post. That was a good pass from Luis Suarez. Good attempt by Messi. We got our guest, Alex Calabriesi, joining us right now. Alex, how you doing, my friend?
Hello. Thanks for the invite. I'm doing good here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and from the press box here.
Yeah, I appreciate you joining, my friend. It looks like New England. I'm currently watching the Miami Nashville SC game, but it looks like New England is up 1-0 over the Chicago Fire. And I think Chicago's guaranteed to make the playoffs as a play-in. Mm-hmm. But I think they could potentially, if I'm not mistaken, they could finish as high as, 6 or 7?
6 is the highest they could get. It would basically require Nashville to lose and Orlando to fail to win. So that looks like a real possibility right now. But if that's going to happen, the Fire would have to win, and they're down 1-0 off of a first-minute goal. 43 seconds in, Al-Hassan Yusuf off of a mistake playing out of the back. So not the way you want to start, but it's been a pretty even game since then. So there's plenty to play for in the last 45.
Yeah, there's still a lot of ball left to be played, and anything can happen in Major League Soccer. Nothing is set in stone. There's a lot of time left. I wouldn't be surprised to see them, pull off a comeback or other results to change. But one of the things I wanted to bring you on, Alex, to talk about was Chicago's turnaround in 2025. They've only made the playoffs 3 times in the last 15 years, 2010, 2017, and this year. What would you credit the biggest turnaround? We know Greg Berhalter is a polarizing figure, right? A lot of people either love him or hate him. What would you credit the biggest reason for the turnaround for Chicago in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, being in the national team hot seat, you're always going to have a lot of pressure. There's always going to be a lot of things to look at that people have an opinion on. But for me, Berhalter's been the key change. I think a lot has changed in terms of the mentality of the team on and off the field. It seems like everybody knows the direction they're going in now, where in years past that wasn't always the case, where it seems like there is a vision, there is a plan. And you can see that every day, from the first team to the second team to the academies, around the training center. Off the field, there's a new stadium around the corner. So all that trending in the right direction. It does feel like the mentality has changed here in Chicago.
And would you say that under Greg Berhalter's leadership, and I do think they played way more competitive this year, and a lot of people have never, or if they have, it hasn't been rightfully so. I think the owner, Joe Matsuo, right? That's his name, if I'm not mistaken.
Matsuo, yeah.
But yes, he's obviously willing to spend the money. A lot of people just think that it hasn't been spent effectively. I think Berhalter, to his credit, knows how to win in Major League Soccer. And I think that is one of the things he's brought, like you said, stability, a leadership. Do you think this team is ready this year to compete for an MLS Cup, or do you think this is just a step in that direction?
I do think it is a step in that direction. I think expecting them to go from a team that finished last in the East to a cup contender overnight is pretty unrealistic. With that being said, I think in the last month, 6 weeks, they have really found a new gear, found a new rhythm. Obviously, it's not going too well tonight here in Foxborough, but the last couple games, they haven't lost in 4. They have 3 wins in that span. They put 5 up on Miami away. So a lot to be excited about. I think this is a team that can make some noise in the postseason if the dominoes fall the right way. But, still a lot of work to do. And that starts with the second 45 here, because they can be in a much better position if they can avoid the wild card and go straight into the first round.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask you, we know Chicago is a huge market. It's the 3rd biggest market in the United States. There's a lot of soccer fans there. That is why it is so important for them to get this right so they can compete and be a perennial playoff team, at least, right? The bare minimum. I wanted to ask you, and it looks like Nashville SC just took the lead on Inter Miami off the rebound, Schaffelberg. So they're now beating Inter Miami 2-1. I was going to ask you, there was a lot of rumors about big names potentially coming here. We heard Kevin De Bruyne. We heard Neymar. But even with them not landing a big name, they've still been very good. Do you think that that's something that they're going to try to do next season into the World Cup year?
I definitely do think so. I think they're saving that third DP spot if they're going to sign a big name. I mean, look, the only guys they really considered for that DP slot were Neymar, De Bruyne, and Patrick Berg from Bodø Glimt in the Norwegian league, who they thought would have been a complete game changer for the midfield. And he's really the midfield linchpin for Norway at the 6th position. So they're looking for a guy like that to be the complete game changer there. They're not going to just sign a DP for the sake of being it. Andre Franco, who they signed over the summer, would have been a DP for probably 2/3 of the teams in MLS and maybe for the Fire in years past, but they got him on a TAM deal if they make that permanent. Though he does have an ACL tear right now, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I think you might see a big name if they're going to sign a third DP. But that's definitely something they want to do in the future, but only if it's the right player, right situation. De Bruyne would have been that. Neymar is one of the most famous people on the planet, so that's an opportunity you have to jump at if it's there. Unfortunately, didn't materialize, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that they definitely, like, I'm not saying that they have to get a big name, but I would think it would be a missed opportunity if they didn't leading into the World Cup, because that market is just so big. I think if they get the right person, it could help it explode even more. And obviously, it's going to have to be a player that fits under Greg Berhalter and can mesh with him. So I think they're going to have a lot of options. Now, you mentioned the Danish. Did you say was it the Nordic or Danish defensive midfielder that you said that they were close to signing?
Patrick Berg, he's from Norway.
Norway. Okay, so the Nordic, defensive midfielder. So what exactly? I remember that being reported. Maybe it was even you talking about how close that was. What ended up falling through? Was it his decision or was it the team's decision?
It was Bodø Glimt, the team in Norway. They wanted like a kind of fairly a ridiculous amount of money for him that was way above his value. And even though the Fire with Mansueto could have theoretically paid that if they wanted to, it's such a bad precedent if you overpay that much for a player on the market. So they didn't end up going through with it, which is probably the right decision long term. But that gives you an idea of the kind of player they were looking at. They were only going to bring in a DP if it was a player who they thought could completely revolutionize the way they played and would have been a complete game changer.
Yeah, and so I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. You've been covering this team for a very, very long time. There's been some dark days. I remember Nikovic, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Dax McCarty, all those guys back in 2017 when they made their last playoff appearance. It's been a long, long time since then. So this is good for the fans of Chicago. Are you seeing excitement? Like, does it feel like the fans are more engaged this year because they've been better?
I mean, they broke their attendance record yet again this year, so that definitely gives you one indication of where the fans are at. There is definitely a lot of excitement. Berhalter has brought so much energy into this team that was not there in the last couple of seasons under Ezra Hendrickson, under Frank Lopez, under Rafael Wicki. So, yeah, big change, everything on and off the field, and that goes with the fans as well. And, getting a playoff win for the first time since 2009, I think would just energize them further. So that right now has to be the absolute number one goal for this team.
And you mentioned the stadium, which has been announced, right? When is that supposed to be completed?
2028.
2028. Yeah, when that stadium is officially opened, I think it's going to absolutely explode. The club is going to explode. It's going to be insane to see how. I mean, it has a lot of potential still, just because they haven't tapped into it. We have not seen what this could really be, because as you know, they were playing at Bridgeview for several years. They've been playing at Soldier Field for like the last 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years at this point. We haven't got to see a soccer-specific stadium in Chicago with a team that's committed, and actually, well, they've been committed. They just haven't had the success you would like to see. So I just think this thing is going to explode. It's got all the potential in the world. And I want to ask you one more question before you head out. You talked about this being a bridge year, right? This is like a stepping stone into success, kind of, filling out the playoffs, making it back to the playoffs the first time in a long time. What do you think that Chicago is going to do in the playoffs? We don't know the matchup yet. That obviously has a lot to do with it, but do you expect them to potentially win in the first round?
It's tough to say right now. In about 55 minutes from now, we'll know if they're going to play a wild card or if they're going to be straight in the first game or who they're going to play. But I do think they'll win at least one game, whether it's the wild card, whether it's a first round game in the best of 3 series. They'll win a game. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But I don't know if they can really, if they have enough depth to go that extra step to be a competitor, to get to the Eastern Conference final. would be cool if they did. I think it would be massive for the market for getting the fans bought in with the stadium on the horizon. But that might be a step too far right now for this team, even though they do have the right pieces to build for the future and they have the right head coach and sporting director to lead the way there in Berhalter.
If there was one player on the team this year who could help them prevail to a first-round win, who would it be?
Philip Zinkernagel is the easy answer. He's been the MVP. He's probably going to come second for newcomer of the year. I don't think Dreyer is going to get any competition for that, but Zinkernagel could come second. He has statistically the best attacking season in Chicago Fire history in terms of combined goals and assists, breaking Nemanja Nikolić's record, which is pretty astonishing considering the expectations for him were not that high coming in as a TAM player. And again, this is a guy who might be a DP on most MLS rosters, but he's exceeded, I think, most people's expectations. He's been a real star. He was an MLS All-Star. And at the end of the day, he's been the best player going forward for this team, and absolute steal to get him and a player to build the attack around in the next couple seasons for sure.
Yeah, he's been incredible. How many assists does he have this year?
I believe it's 15.
15. He's been instrumental in their success this year. I don't think they'd be nearly as good without him on the roster this year. And like you said, he was a very low expectation signing, and he has just exceeded all those expectations in 2025. Alex, I appreciate you for joining, my friend. Hopefully we'll see you again at some point in the playoffs. But before I let you go, can you tell the people where they can find your work at and where they can read your articles?
Yeah, so on Twitter, Calabriesi12, and then all my stuff's going to be at menared97.com, occasionally MLSsoccer.com, and we have Joe Chat stopping by as well. But yeah, we're here in the stadium ready for the second half. So yeah, hope you guys will enjoy the rest of these games. Lots of goals so far, so should be fun.
Alex, I appreciate it, my friend. Enjoy the second half. We'll talk soon. Hope you have a great night, my friend.
Sounds good. Thank you. You too.
See you, Alex.
Bye.
I appreciate Alex for joining us and talking about the Chicago Fire. They've really done a good job of turning it around in 2025 and been competitive. And, they're in the playoffs the first time, or they're going to be the first time in 8 years, which is hard to believe. So good, big turnaround for Chicago in 2025. Huge turnaround. Amy says Javier should be fired. Yeah, we got to talk about this too. Inter Miami just shit the bed at the end of that first half. They're probably going to end up losing. This is a huge concern for me of why I think they're in trouble. By the way, who the hell was marking Schaffelberg on that rebound? Was that Maxi Falcone who was supposed to be marking him? Look at him. He's wide open. I guess you could maybe blame Jordi Alba for that, not tracking him. But Maxi Falcone, if there's a goal, Maxi Falcone is definitely in the area. He's definitely in the area if there is a goal. Wow, this has been exciting. I think this is crazy. A lot of goals, a lot of different scenarios still to play out of what the finishing and the standings could be. A lot of upsets so far, I would say. But I will say this too. I don't want to expand on this too much. But if Inter Miami finished third place in the standings, I think that Javier Mascherano is as good as gone. I think it's over. It's over. Mr. Mister says Javier should be fired at halftime. Yeah, and no, I definitely think that he I don't know if he would, but he definitely deserves a lot of flack for how bad this team has been in 2020 and 2025. They've given up so many goals. He was hired to literally fix the defensive problems, and they've gotten worse under him. It's not been good enough. It's not good enough. Amy says, I trusted this team. They broke my heart. My trust, I'm done. So I'm done. Harry says Ainge back on the market, available. Wait, is he really already available? Has he been fired again already? No way. Oh my God, he got fired already? How did he get fired already? Wow, he did. He only coached for what, 40 days? He got fired today. That's crazy. Wow. My God, an 8-game tenure? That is terrible. That is absolutely insane that he got fired already. Wow. 40 days in charge. 40 days in charge and he's fired already. That's insane. That's insane. All right, I want to ask you guys this too. What is your thoughts about the first half of MLS Decision Day Eastern Conference Edition? Do you think it's been exciting? Do you think it's been boring? 1 through 10, 1 being boring, no interest, just lame, 10 being super exciting. How would you rate the first or the MLS Decision Day Eastern Conference Edition 1 through 10, 1 being boring, 10 being super exciting? What would you rank or rate the excitement level of MLS Decision Day Eastern Conference? Let's see. Francisco says Miami knew what they hired with Mascherano. Juan says if Frey and Avalos came in for Lujan and Cello, then Mash can keep his job. Also, who do you start at goalie for the playoffs? Rios looks real athletic. I think he would probably start Rocco in the first round just because he has played pretty well. He is younger. He is more reactive. I do think that would probably be a smarter pick in the playoffs. I think you've got to go with him. David Day says we need to import coaches by the bushel from Uruguay, Belgium, Portugal, etc. No, that is true. I do think they need to have more international coaches. Amy says excited and mad same time. Tarucho says exciting 10 so far. Inter Miami versus Nashville. Juan says 10 exciting, 1 for my parlays. Mr. says 7. Last year, I remember there being more stakes, but it's been pretty good so far. It's been pretty interesting, at least. Like no bad games, right? Nothing, no boring 0-0 matches except for New York City FC versus Seattle. Ashcan says 7 out of 10. I don't like that Inter Miami are losing, but I like that Messi goal. That Messi goal is probably what is going to end up getting him the golden boot. And look, the second half's about to start. So I have to say this. We got 55 of you in the chat right now. Make sure you guys give this a like down below. Let's try to hit 50 likes before the end of this stream. Smash the like button if you haven't already. If you enjoy watching this stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I said, we've got a lot of content coming your way with the playoffs right around the corner. We're going to have a prediction. We're going to have a recap of probably the LAFC game with Nick after the second stream. We're going to have a recap of what happened today, tomorrow in general. And then we're going to have an MLS Cup playoff prediction video drop on Monday, most likely, that you're not going to miss. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and hit that little bell notification so you never miss any of our videos. Chirocho says Messi's goal saved this game, though. Can't wait to see another Messi's magic. HJHR says 10. You never forget your first decision day. That's interesting. So this is your first decision day. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Hacker says whole team is still dependent on Messi. By the way, no, they are dependent on Messi, but I mean, that's kind of been their mantra this year. That's why I think they're in trouble, because if he has a bad game, then they're in trouble. Hacker says Nashville playing a good team game. Yeah, they are. They play a lot better collectively, or they have been, than Miami has in this match at least. Mr. says don't rule out Sam Surridge for the Golden Boot. That Miami defense is utter crap. That's true. I think what is Sam Surridge at right now? Now he would need 4 goals in this match. I think he's at. I think that's what he needed. Yeah, he's got 23 goals now. He's got 24 goals because of this match. So he would need 4 goals to take the lead on in a half. I don't know if that's going to happen. Silver Teeth says 3 goals in 1 half. Nah, that's funny. David A says Golden Boot should include the playoffs. It's not going to happen. T. Rucho also says Sam Surridge not going to make it. He needs another 3 goals to tie, but still would lose if Messi versus if he ties versus Messi. That's true. He does need, so he would need 4 goals at the half to beat Messi. Hacker also says, what do you think? How can Inter Miami be a better team and not depend on Messi? Well, first of all, you have to hire a manager who plays a more attacking-based system and not just hunker down and depend on Messi for anything relative to a goal. That's number one. Number two, you have to sign players who are not 36, 37-year-old plus, and you can't sign players who are injury-prone like one Neymar. You need to stay as far away from them as possible, and you need to sign players that are good and in their prime still. You need to surround him with players who can run, who can score, and who, aren't just over the hill. Like, they have these spots and they just sign his friends instead of the best player available. But I think it starts with leadership. If they can switch the coach out, they can get someone in there that's better than Javier Mascherano, which is not that hard. Let's be honest. It's not a hard accomplishment to meet. We'll see what happens. Juan says La Tortuga tripping over the ball was sad. That's the story of his 2025 season, is him tripping over his own feet and the own ball and looking pathetic. Michael says, do you think Miami will sign Otamendi? I don't know if they will sign Otamendi, but wouldn't hurt. But I think they need a striker more than a DP center back. Donnie Moore says, what does Orlando need to get 3 goals in the second half? A Muriel sub? Probably, yeah, probably. I'd have to let me look at their starting 11 again and see who's starting for Orlando City. Yeah, I'd say Luis Muriel probably would help quite a bit in the second half. I don't know why they didn't start him in the first place, especially when the team was trying to fight for playoff positioning. Very odd move by Orlando City, in my opinion, especially because you would think they would want to try to win that game so they could play Inter Miami in the first round, because Inter Miami, I think, would struggle mightily against Orlando City. Like, I think that would be a bad matchup for Inter Miami. Silver T says, if Miami get a penalty, should Messi take it? And will he ruin it if he does take it, since he has no penalty goals in Major League Soccer? I don't think he would ruin anything, but I do think that it would be cool for him to win the Golden Boot with 0 penalty goals. I don't know if that's ever happened before in Major League Soccer. He might be the first person in the history of the league to win the Golden Boot without any penalties in the entire season. That would be crazy. Hacker says Silvetti is going crazy at the U20 World Cup. He can run for Messi. He is crazy. He might be the saving grace for Inter Miami. Mr. says Miami need Xavi. Yeah, Inter Miami are still not out in the second half. They normally come out late in the second half, but they're really late. Nashville SC is on the pitch right now, waiting for them to come out. Very weird. All the other games have already started. So this is the one and only game that has not started its second half. Very odd. Do you think Matteo Silvetti is going to be a key player for Inter Miami? I think he might be the most key player outside of Messi, because however good he is, I think will dictate how far this team goes. Because I think Silvetti legitimately might be the second best player on this team right now. Okay, right now, if the results hold, Inter Miami would play New York City FC in the first round, which would also be a bad matchup, because then Miami would have to play in New York at the baseball stadium, one of the baseball stadiums, whichever one it is. Yeah, probably would be Yankee Stadium. That would be a bad matchup for them. But also, too, I mean, there's still some possibilities. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Silvetti will definitely help out once he comes back. Tony Fiddler says DePaul is in his prime and he has been way short of stellar. Yeah, he has been disappointing. Tony has, or excuse me, not Tony. DePaul has totally been disappointing. Tony, he has been. But to be fair, a lot of the time he's played for Inter Miami, he's played out of position. He's been playing as a 10. He's been playing as a right midfielder. I think that once he gets settled in next year and they sign some better players to let him just play his natural position, I think he'll be better. Yeah, Toronto FC's up 3-0 now. 3-0 over Orlando City. It looks like Orlando City is cooked. It looks like they will not win their game. Nick Smith says Miami playing 40 chess. They don't want to play Nashville in the playoffs, so they are throwing the game. Totally not. Their defense just sucks. But honestly, I think that New York City FC might be a worse matchup for them in the first round. I think New York City FC might be a worse matchup for them in the first round. Michael Pelly says, this MLS end of year schedule is really testing me. Have to watch college football and listen to you at the same time. If this was spring, it's no big deal missing the beginning of the MLB season games. That's what I'm saying too. Listen, I am a huge American sports fan. I love college football. I love the NFL. Right now is a huge college football game day. Huge college football game day. And MLS is having a very important day compete with college football. And there's games all day in college football. And I think that's another reason why ESPN and Fox didn't want to buy MLS, TV rights, because they've already got college football. They don't need it. And this is the most important time of the year for MLS, and it's competing directly with college football. Juan says current results, it would be Miami versus New York City. Let's face it, based on defense and Messi dependency, all matchups are bad for Miami. There's a point to that too. There is a good point that all matchups would be bad for Inter Miami at this point. Nick Smith says they just beat New York City FC 4-0, so that's better than anything they're doing with Nashville. Yeah, but maybe so, but didn't Inter Miami beat Nashville last time they played? Harry says, would New York City FC host the game at the football stadium versus Miami? Host the game at the football stadium versus Miami. They would host one game, and it would be at the baseball stadium. It would be at Yankee Stadium, presumably. That's where one of the games would take place. We'll just have to see, though. It looks like all the other scores are pretty much the same as what they were at the half, outside Toronto FC scoring another goal on Orlando City. And all the other games are, 54 minutes into the match. Inter Miami Nashville had the longest delay. It looks like New York City FC and Seattle also had a delay. But all the other games have they're a little ahead of the Inter Miami and the New York City FC game. Also, too, even if Inter Miami were to win this game, with Cincinnati winning over Montreal, they're still going to be the third seed, so it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter for Inter Miami at this point, but it also doesn't help it doesn't help for Inter Miami to have a bad game heading into the playoffs, because they're presumably going to play on Friday, maybe Saturday of this coming week. I mean, look, guys, we have a busy schedule. It's going to be jam-packed. We've got a play-in game on Wednesday. I mean, there's a lot of games that are coming up very, very soon. Nick says either way, Miami isn't going anywhere without a miracle. They're not. This is not a championship level team. It's just not. What a beautiful pass from Messi. Did you guys just see that absolute shit show of a choke job that Tadio Yende? He had it on a platter. Everyone in the chat could have finished that. Everyone in the chat could have finished that. It was on a platter. Jordi Alba maybe was offside. I don't know. But my God, what the hell was that? Sadio Allende, this is what they're working with. Orlando City has pulled one back. It's now 3-1 in the 56-minute Orlando City versus Toronto FC. Oh my God. Miguel says, I may have hit the post on that. No, I think you would at least, if it contacted the ball, you would have at least got a strike off, right? Angel says, LOL. Rich says, there are well-rounded teams in both conferences. Miami is not that. Vancouver plays Nashville in the final. That would be an interesting final. I don't think Nashville's really equipped to make it that deep. Maybe they could. Nick says, that's how Allende has been all year. He legit should be in the Golden Boot race if he finished even 1/3 of his chances. Yeah, he's like the Shaquille O'Neal free throw shooting of soccer is Tadeo Allende. He's the Shaquille O'Neal of free throw shooting of soccer. Ooh. Michael Pelly says fans have to be pumped for that ATR. Tommy says, Inter Miami has a high school defense. How do you allow 12 shots by halftime? Fans have to be pumped for Atlanta and DC United game of the week. I mean, Inter Miami still should try to go for it because if Montreal can pull one back and tie it up and Miami wins, they could be the second seed still. So like they definitely have something to play for. Suarez, first strike, a little too high. Too high. Shot attempt by Luis Suarez. I'm trying to find a video of that Tadeo Allende shot. Allende is whatever is that's worse than very bad. Angel says that my Sunday league team doesn't allow that many shots in one half. Mr. says Tadeo Allende should just retire at this point. Him and Luis Suarez as your strikers or your attackers, whatever you want to classify at this point, just pretty bad. Nick Smith says shot. He didn't even get a shot. The ball went backwards. Like it hit his ankle when he swung through it. Huge respect for Guzan on his career. Hope he gets the clean sheet today. Oh, is he starting? Hibbert's been really good for. I guess they are going to give him a tribute game, but Hibbert's good. The goalkeeper for Atlanta United. He's been playing very, very well. Juan says Suarez not retiring is so scary for this team next year. Imagine an absolute elderly retirement-esque attack of Neymar, Suarez, and Messi. The oldest possible version of MSN you could even think about. Allende. Ashkin says Allende miskicked it. Mascherano should step him off. He probably won't, though. He won't, sadly. Mr. says at least Suarez can still shoot. It's true, but, God, him and Neymar and Messi would be just such a nightmare. I don't even know how many games there would be missed collectively between the three, but most of them would be Neymar missing, but still. Juan says he got a big save on Benteke header. Oh, Guzan did? Nice. HJ says Nashville won the U.S. Open Cup. They've been out of form, but have shown they can beat whoever is put in front of them. They have definitely been competitive and they've had some runs and some bad luck, but they've been overall a pretty solid team this year. Harry says 10 years too late on MSN. Miguel says zero pace FC. Tommy says zero knee FC. Oh, good save. Good save by Willis. That was a good save by Willis. Brian Rodriguez hasn't been as good as you would like today either. Honestly, he's not been as good as you would like him to be. Looks like Tyler Boyd's coming off for Schaffelberg. Jordi Alba crosses it. Too high, no one there. Cleared out of bounds for a corner for Inter Miami. Let's look at these other games, see if there's anything different. Oh, Toronto FC scored again, so it's 4-1. Toronto FC essentially putting the nail in the coffin for Orlando City. Cincinnati scores 2-0, so Cincinnati essentially is going to be the second seed in the Eastern Conference. So Inter Miami are pretty much screwed at this point. They're going to be the third seed. This game really doesn't matter as much anymore now that I don't know what Paul was doing there. This game essentially doesn't mean anything at the moment now because Inter Miami is they're going to be the third seed team. They're going to be the third seed. Header is cleared. Neymar missed a few games for PSG. He was atrocious for Al Hilal, yet played well the last World Cup for Brazil. I mean, I wouldn't say he missed a few games for PSG. He was missing like 15 games a year. Oh, good defending by Jordi Alba. Was Evander the one that scored it? Evander in a normal year would have won MVP of MLS, but it's just a very competitive field in 2025. Very, very competitive field in 2025. Very competitive field. What day is? Never mind. What are you trying to ask? God, they got Luis Suarez playing pretty deep right now. I'm telling you guys, I look at this team and I just don't see MLS Cup winner. This team is very, very, very broken. Very, very broken right now. Yeah, Toronto FC is dominating Orlando City pretty bad. Yeah, they're defending. Inter Miami's defending in transition is not very good. It's too old. It's too slow. Suarez almost got a yellow. He looked like he was about to pull it out. Toronto FC looks so much better now that the two Italian problems are gone. Yeah, Bernardeschi and Insigne were just plagues on that team. And I thought they were going to be good, but talent, name recognition, even age, they weren't that old. This doesn't always translate. It doesn't always translate. So I'm curious to see. I'm going to look at this real quick. I'm curious to see what the standings are right now. Like as far as MLS, like who. Boom, Will almost try to get a. Surge got pulled down, but it looks like it's not going to be a foul. I'm curious to see what the matchups would be as of right now. So Philadelphia would play the winner of Chicago versus the Columbus Crew. That would be the first round. Well, first of all, I got to preface that Columbus Crew would play Chicago Fire in the play-in game. Whoever wins that game would play Philadelphia. So far, this is what's likely to happen at this point. Cincinnati would play Orlando City in the first round, which is a pretty good matchup. Inter Miami would play New York City FC in the first round, and then Charlotte FC would play Nashville SC in the first round. That is some really good quality matchups. That's some very good quality matchups. I honestly don't know who would win some of these matchups. It's a 50-50 shot for either team. This is some very good. This would be some very good matchups. And that's why it's so unpredictable. The Eastern Conference is so deep that the 8 seed team could be as good as a 3rd or 2nd seed team. I mean, that's just how deep it is. There's not a huge drop off in the quality. Nick says, I like those games. Those are some pretty damn good matchups. I mean, there would have to be a dramatic change. And by the way, Seattle just scored on New York City FC. So I would think that I doubt it's going to change. I doubt the matchups are going to change. Messi with the turn. That's a handball. It's given handball. Inter Miami win they get awarded a penalty. Now, is Messi going to take it, or would it be cool for Messi to not take it and be the first player probably in MLS history to score 27 goals or win the Golden Boot without a single penalty? Let's see. Yeah, I think that's going to be a penalty. I think that's definitely going to be a penalty. Butterdog says Messi probably won't even take the penalty. I don't think he will. Probably give it to Kende. No, Messi is going to take it. Wow. Wow. I think it would have been more impressive if Messi was the first person in MLS history to win the Golden Boot who had never scored a penalty in the entire season. I think that would have been way cooler. I'm honestly surprised he's taking it. Yeah, I'm very surprised that he's taking this, to be honest with you. But, we'll see what happens. '28th goal of the season. Messi. Easily scores it. 28th goal of the season. Yeah, that pretty much does that pretty much seals the Golden Boot race too. Denny Bouang would have to have 5 goals tonight, which, with that attack that could happen, but, Oh, DC United pulls one back to tie it up with Atlanta United. Interesting. Columbus scored 2, so Columbus is up 2-1 over New York. Let's see does that really change anything? Not really. I guess it would change the hosting party of the play-in match. Right? No. Oh, actually it would. Wow. That does change something. With Orlando City losing and Columbus beating the New York Red Bulls now, Orlando City SC would now slide to the 8th spot and have partake in the Chicago Fire in the play-in game. And now the Columbus Crew would be in the 7th seed and play Cincinnati. Hell is real in the first round would be kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie to you. That would be a crazy first round matchup. So right now, Orlando City slides to 8th place. They'll play Greg Berhalter in the play-in game, and Columbus Crew would play FC Cincinnati in the first round. If these results hold up. King's Eye says Messi prioritizes the team success over records. Yeah, I would say that's pretty fair. I think he cares more about the trophies. Nick Smith says we are legit going to play Nashville 3 to 4 games in a row. No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen unless there's something changed. No, they're going to play New York City FC. Angel says I'm so down for a rivalry match in the first round. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. Let's see. Looks like the results are still the same. We're 66 minute in this Inter Miami match, but a lot of these other games are in their 71st, 72nd minute. Now, the Western Conference Decision Day, which I hope to see some of you guys at that's going to start at 8:50 Eastern Standard Time, probably about 50 minutes after this one ends. I hope to see some of you over there. And Telesco Segovia's in the game now. That decision day is going to have playoff implications. Some of the teams are fighting for a playoff spot in general. Like I think teams 1 through 12 or positions 1 through 12 could change in the Western Conference. Positions 1 through 12 could change in the Western Conference. Eric says, is Son and Denny back from international call-up? Yes, they're back. They're going to play tonight. Great pass from Messi to Suarez. Oh, looks like it's going to be an own goal. Miami takes the lead, which hurts Nashville. Let's see. Now Nashville would play Inter Miami. That might have been a bad situation for Inter Miami to score that goal. That might have been a bad situation for Inter Miami. Actually, Columbus can't jump them. Now Inter Miami will likely play Nashville SC in the first round. So that actually might have hurt them. Some of you guys were saying that Nashville would be a worse matchup for Inter Miami, which I don't know. It's debatable, but now Inter Miami might play Nashville 4 games in a row, which is kind of crazy to think about. That's a lot of games to play in a row, 4 matches. That's so crazy. That's just oversaturation. God, that sounds terrible. Four games in a row. Does anybody want to see that? Now, if New York City is able to pull one back, or if Nashville SC is able to pull one back, maybe, just maybe, let me look at the difference here. Yeah, I think that, I guess New York City FC pulling one back wouldn't do a difference or wouldn't do anything different. But Nashville SC could, if they could score one, possibly. Oh, Messi just wide. Maybe Nashville SC could jump back up to fifth place. Nick says, to be honest, this game has been fun and wide open. That's true, but 4 games? You want to watch 4 games of this? I don't want to watch any team play 4 times. I just don't want to watch that in a row. I don't want to see that. That's too much. Too much. Does he have the hat trick? He's getting close. I don't. We'll see. 70th minute, 2-3 Inter Miami over Nashville SC. Looks like the results are still the same on the other end. Who's going to win the Wooden Spoon as it currently stands? It looks like DC United's going to win the Wooden Spoon. Yeah, it looks like DC United's going to win the gold. Is going to win the Wooden Spoon. Now, if DC United had beaten Atlanta United, then the LA Galaxy could have won the Wooden Spoon. It was down between the Galaxy and DC United, and I think even Atlanta United could still win it. Maybe even Sporting Kansas City. There's like 4 teams in contention. Yeah, Miami's got 4 expected goals now in the second half, and Nashville SC's 3. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Ian Frey. That was a good look to Yende, but we know Yende's not going to do anything with that. Oh, good save by Rios Novo. Good save by Rios Novo. Mr. Mister says Atlanta deserves a wooden spoon. Eric says, I saw your Neymar video to MLS. I think it would be better if the league if Neymar and Richarlison joined Orlando City. Possibly. We'll see what happens. Tommy says, no, look at the goal difference. DC is so bad. Yeah, how many goals has DC? Yeah, DC has conceded 66 goals. They have a goal difference of minus 36 in 2025, and they've only won 5 matches. 5 matches in 2025, DC United has. Sporting Kansas City's conceded 70 goals, though. I mean, that's pretty bad. If it wasn't for Jovic, they'd be in trouble. Nick Smith says, good save by Rocco. Hopefully, he's the starter for Inter Miami. Yeah, I think he's pretty much. I think he has earned the right to start after today's game, but we'll see if he does. We'll see if he does. They really like Gustari. They like their veteran goalkeepers. How they like their veteran players in general. Oh, is it Yannick Bright? Eric says Galaxy is cooked. Yeah, they're pretty screwed. Mascherano does not like change. Yeah, of course he doesn't. He's bad. I mean, he doesn't. It's not that he doesn't like it. I just don't think he's good at doing it. He doesn't know what changes to make to be effective. '74th minute, Inter Miami up 3-2 over Nashville SC. 80th minute for some of these other matches. And like I said, we got some big games too tonight with the Western Conference. Let's see. LAFC play Colorado, which is a big game because they're trying to, seal that second seed. I don't think they have officially sealed it. Maybe they have. Let me see if they've officially sealed the second seed. No, they haven't. So San Diego and LAFC are battling it out for the second seed. And then there is a potential that San Diego could be the first seed still if Vancouver lose and San Diego FC win. I mean, literally, there's so much changes that can happen. Minnesota can finish as high as number 2. Seattle, they're done. They're locked in at number 5, but number 6 through number 11 could change. There's just so many different scenarios that could happen tonight in the Western Conference. The Western Conference arguably is way more exciting than tonight's matchups in the Eastern Conference, just because there's just so much movement. So much movement that could happen. Abdul says, what is a wooden spoon and what is it for? That's funny as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. That's pretty funny. The wooden spoon is awarded to the team who has the worst record in Major League Soccer in the season. The wooden spoon is the worst team, worst record in Major League Soccer for that season. So it's just an award for the worst team. American football is confusing. That's funny. Oh, so the Fire pulled one back. That's interesting. So the Fire with them drawing, I don't know if that changes anything because they're still the 8th seed. I don't think they would jump Columbus. Let's see. But they could jump Orlando City, and then Orlando City would Chicago would host Orlando City for that play-in game. So that's interesting. Did that for sure happen? Ernest says, we need to win in San Diego. Tie lost when we would give us the provisional spot in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. LAFC, that's true. I think it would. Rich says, Vancouver's locked in, was at the game versus Philly. Mueller all night coaching while he played, focused, built to win. He's incredible. He's like another coach on the pitch, and he's also good still, which is a big deal. Wingcake says, why is Miami on third if they have a significant edge on goal difference with Cincinnati? Because it's about the wins. That's the first tiebreaker with points in Major League Soccer. I agree with you. It should be goal difference. That's how it normally is done in every other league. But it's about who has the most wins. And then if that's tied, then they go on goal difference. But because Cincinnati has the more wins than Inter Miami, they will be hosting the playoff game. They will get the advantage in the seeding. Michael Pelly says, I was confused by the American football comment, thinking they meant the American football sport, not Major League Soccer. Yeah. When these other games, because Inter Miami is locked in they're locked in for the third seed. There's nothing they can do at this point to not be the third seed. When these other matches are done, I'm going to hop off. I'm going to go get something to eat real quick, eat some dinner. And like I said, I got that second stream for the Western Conference Decision Day, and it starts at 8:50 Eastern time. It might be a few minutes late, but around 8:50 Eastern time, and we'll have a couple guests on there as well. I think we're gonna have Hernan from We Are Austin TV stop by, Tony Sanchez from San Diego Football stop by, and then I think Nick is gonna stop by at some point. If not, me and him will do a post game recap. But we're gonna have something interesting going on. Crew is up 3-1 now, so Chicago did tie it. Okay, let's look and see what that changes at the moment. Chicago is going to host a game if they drew. They're going to host a playoff game. Ashcan says, that's so dumb that MLS goes with the wins opposed to goal difference. That definitely needs to change. I don't disagree. I think goal difference has always been a tiebreaker, right? Oh, to Paul. Good save by Willis. (1-1) New York, Seattle, but it doesn't really make a difference at this point. It's going to stay the same. New York can't jump. They can't jump, or Nashville SC can't jump New York City FC at this point. And New York City FC can't jump Charlotte, so it really doesn't matter. Charlotte FC would have had to have lost, and New York City would have had to have won in order to jump them. Can Miami actually hold the lead? Here's the thing. I think they probably can. But even if they lost at this point, now that New York City is tied, it doesn't matter. Now that if New York City is tied, Nashville SC, even if they win, would not pass New York City FC up, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, maybe they would. Hold on, let me look at this for a second. Yeah, I guess if they technically won, they would pass them up, but I doubt that's going to happen. They need 2 goals. So I think so. Even if they draw, New York City FC would get the advantage. So Miami scored again. Let's see who scored. Messi, 29th goal, hat trick tonight. First hat trick in Messi's career. First hat trick in Messi's MLS career. Right? Or no, he scored 5 goals in the game, didn't he? What's the most goals Messi scored in a game? $29 goals. Yeah, he scored a hat trick last year. And it was decision day last year, which is kind of funny. That's crazy. 29th goal of the season. Absolutely sealed up the MVP race. Sealed it up. And that's it. Inter Miami's locked in the third, locked in the 2 goal contributions for Carlos Vela's record. Incredible. Incredible game. Mr. Mister says, shout out to Amy. She said Messi would score a hat trick. She did say that. That's true. She did. He got his hat trick, and now he's got 29 goals. He's got 47 goal contributions this year, and he didn't even play 30 games. If he had played 31 games like Carlos Vela did in 2019, he would have broken the all-time record for goal contributions in a season. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mr. Krabs says, if I'm a Nashville fan, I would hate having to play Inter Miami 4 times in a row. Suarez? Oh, God. La Tortuga. God. Terrible. That should have been 5-2, but to be fair, that sitter that Tadio Allende missed earlier should have been a goal as well. That should have been a goal as well. I mean, this is a team Inter Miami's going to face in the first round as Nashville SC. They're going to face them, and they have I mean, they've started dominating the second half. The first half was kind of atrocious, but the second half they've dominated Nashville SC. Nick Smith says Tortuga would have had Messi another goal contribution. He would have. He would have. If he had made that, Messi would have been 1 goal contribution from breaking the all-time MLS record of 49 goal contributions by Carlos Vela when he scored 34 goals and he had 15 assists in 2019 for LAFC. Messi to Jordy. Feels like they're chasing that record almost. Tortuga and Allende never fail to have shockers. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, Messi had a hat trick last year on decision day, and now he's got another one on decision day in 2025. So he's had his last hat trick for Inter Miami was exactly, well, almost, it's not exactly 1 year ago, almost to the day. If only La Tortuga had pace. If only he had a knee. If only he had a lot of things at this point, right? Tommy says Carlos had a ton of penalties. He did have a lot of penalties for sure. Nashville play Inter Miami so many times that Geodis Park is a home game for Inter Miami. That's, yeah. Well, there is a lot of Nashville SC fans at this game though. So I wouldn't say that completely, but I know what you mean. '86 minute. Let's see. There's a couple of games that are almost concluded. I have to get off here in the next like 2 minutes, I'd say, because I really got to eat before the second game. But it looks like this result's going to hold. Miami's going to win. And these other games are in their added time. Chicago, New England tied 1-1. Columbus 3-1 over New York Red Bulls. Charlotte FC 2-0 over Philadelphia. Cincinnati actually added another goal. They're up 3-0 over Montreal. Inter Miami obviously beating Nashville SC 4-2. Seattle's actually pulled one back. They're actually beating New York City FC 2-1 now. And DC United and Atlanta United are tied 1-1. It looks like Orlando pulled one back too. It's 4-2 now. So a lot of games that are pretty competitive. A lot of games that have been really good. Eastern Conference has been stellar. Absolutely stellar so far through the first half of it. I think these results are going to hold. Nothing's really changed. I can pull this up real quick just to show you guys. That way we can visualize this. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see. Let me pull this up just real quick. Yeah, see, as it stands right now, let me refresh this. Okay, so as it stands right now, not much is going to change. Philly's going to play the winner of the play-in between Chicago and Orlando. Chicago's going to host that game now. Cincinnati's going to play Columbus in the first round. Hell is real. Great matchup. Inter Miami's going to play Nashville SC. And Charlotte FC are going to play New York City FC in the first round. All the Eastern Conference matchups are essentially done with. This is what it's going to be. This is what's going to happen. Now, Mr. says Wilfred Zaha got a red card, so he's going to miss the first game of the first round against New York City FC, which is interesting. But the first round has been set. These are the matchups that are going to happen. I'm going to run. I'm going to get something to eat. I want to see all you guys hopefully at the next stream in the Western Conference matchup. That's where the real work begins. That's where we're really going to see some of these teams of who's going to make it, who's not going to make it in the playoffs. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you guys see me at 8:50 in about 45 minutes. And also make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the little bell notification so you don't miss any of the post-game recaps or anything in between. All MLS content coming your way. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you guys all very, very soon.